In a small village in India, there was a boy named Rohan. He was very curious and loved watching the rich men in his village. These men rode beautiful horses, wore shiny silk clothes, and had gold rings on their fingers. Rohan admired them and thought that being rich was the only way to get respect. One evening, he sat with his grandfather Baba under a big banyan tree. With excitement, he said, "Baba, when I grow up, I will wear gold rings on every finger and buy expensive clothes so that people will respect me." Baba smiled at Rohan's words. His old face was full of wisdom. He gently adjusted his simple shawl and said, "Come, my child, let me tell you a story." Some other children from the village also gathered under the tree to listen. Baba began his story. Many years ago, in this same village, there was a man named Dinesh. He was not rich, but he wanted everyone to think that he was. Instead of working hard and saving money, he made a different choice. He borrowed money to buy expensive clothes and gold jewelry. He threw big parties and gave expensive gifts to important people in the village. Everyone thought he was very successful. They praised him and wished they had a life like his. But what they did not know was that Dinesh had no real money. He was only pretending to be rich. Rohan was very curious and asked, "What happened next, Baba?" Baba sighed and continued, "Dinesh kept borrowing money, but he had no way to pay it back. His problems kept getting bigger, and he became very worried. One day, the moneylenders came to his house and asked for their money back. But Dinesh had no money to give them. He had to sell everything: his house, his jewelry, and his fine clothes. The same people who once admired him now stayed away from him. His false wealth was gone, and he was left all alone." Rohan was shocked. "So, what did he do after that?" he asked. Baba looked at him kindly and said, "Dinesh had to start from the beginning. He worked hard and earned money honestly. Over time, he learned that real wealth is not in showing off but in living with honesty and dignity. After that, he never tried to pretend to be rich again." Rohan thought for a moment and said, "So, it is better to be truly rich in our hearts rather than just looking rich on the outside?" Baba smiled and placed his hand on Rohan's head. "Yes, my child. Money and fancy things can disappear, but the respect earned through honesty stays forever. Never act rich just to impress people. Work hard, live with dignity, and let your honesty bring you true respect." Baba continued, "In our culture, we respect people who are kind and hardworking. Do you know the story of King Harishchandra?" Rohan shook his head. Baba smiled and said, "Harishchandra was a great king who always told the truth. He lost his kingdom, his money, and even his family because he refused to lie or cheat. He faced many hardships but never gave up his honesty. Even today, people remember him not for his riches, but for his good character." Rohan listened carefully. "But Baba, if I don't look rich, how will people respect me?" Baba laughed softly. "Respect that comes from gold and silk is like a house made of sand, it will fall with the first strong wind. But respect that comes from honesty is like this big banyan tree, it will stand strong for many years." Rohan looked around him. He saw farmers working in the fields, women making baskets, and elders sitting under the tree, sharing their wisdom. He realized that true wealth was not in gold or fancy things but in knowledge, honesty, and strong relationships. From that day on, Rohan stopped dreaming of wearing gold rings and expensive clothes to impress others. Instead, he focused on learning, working hard, and being a good person. Years later, Rohan grew up and became a respected teacher in the village. Just like Baba, he sat under the same banyan tree and told this story to young children. And just like his grandfather, he taught them that living honestly and working hard was the greatest success in life.